Have you ever felt that time suddenly became distorted, as if you had lived through a moment before, yet you cannot remember when? Or perhaps you were walking down a familiar street, only to realize that everything around you had changed, as if you had stepped into another world. If these phenomena were merely illusions, why are there so many reported cases across the world? Different people from different places, yet they all share a strange experience. Time slipping. Or perhaps the reality we live in is not as stable as we think. Tonight, let's dive into the mysteries of time slips, listen to the chilling accounts of those who claim to have experienced fractures in time. And most importantly, let's seek the answer to this question. Can science explain these occurrences? Or are we witnessing clues of a world beyond our understanding? On a July night in 1968, Carlos Argentino Diaz, a middle-aged man, was waiting for the subway in Buenos Aires. As the train approached, he stepped in like everyone else, but within seconds, he vanished right before the eyes of other passengers. Train arrived at the next station, but Carlos was nowhere to be found. No security cameras recorded him exiting the train, and there was no evidence he had gotten off at any station. Amazingly, 2 days later, Carlos reappeared, 600 kilometers away, in the small town of San Luis. He had no memory of how he got there, no train ticket, and no one had seen him on any transport. Did he accidentally step into a time vortex? Or was this one of the rare, unexplained cases of spontaneous teleportation? In the 1950s, a British Watubi veteran named Harry Martindale was working as a plumber in the basement of an old building in York, England. As he was fixing pipes, he suddenly heard a series of heavy marching footsteps. When he looked up, he was frozen with fear. An entire Roman army was marching right in front of him. The soldiers were dressed in iron armor, carrying shields and spears, moving in a ghostly, transparent state, as if they did not belong to this world. But the strangest part, their legs appeared to be buried beneath the modern floor, as if they were walking on an ancient road buried underground. Terrified, Martindale ran away. Years later, archaeologists discovered that there was indeed an ancient Roman road buried beneath the building. But how could Martindale have known this before it was excavated? Had he witnessed a time echo from the past? Or was there a temporary tear in time, allowing him to see soldiers from 2,000 years ago? One of the strangest cases happened in the early 2000s, when a truck driver was traveling down a highway in the United States late at night. Suddenly, he saw a man standing in the middle of the road waving frantically for him to stop. When the truck driver pulled over, the stranger urgently warned him,
"Turn back! You must not continue this way!"
The stranger was wearing bizarre clothing, modern, yet oddly futuristic. But before the driver could ask any more questions, the man vanished right before his eyes. Shaken, the truck driver continued driving, only to discover a horrific accident just a few kilometers ahead. Had he not stopped, he too might have been a victim. Was this a time traveler trying to prevent a disaster, or simply a ghost of someone who had already died in that exact location? Another strange case comes from a French woman in 1935. One morning, she went for a walk in Paris. But as she turned into a small alley, she saw herself, but at least 20 years older. The future version of her paused, smiled mysteriously, and then vanished around a corner. Years later, after aging, she happened to pass through the same alley again. This time, she was shocked to see her younger self walking towards her. Was this a time loop? Or are there moments when timelines merge, allowing people to see their future selves? What do you think about these stories? Are they merely coincidences? Tricks of the mind? Or could they be small clues suggesting that our reality is not as stable as we believe? If the past, present, and future can truly intertwine, could we, unknowingly, step into another timeline without realizing it? And more importantly, is it possible that someone, somewhere, at another point in time, has already seen you, a version of you from the future or the past? Have you ever experienced a strange moment that felt out of place in time? Comment below and share your story. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to uncover more mysteries that remain unsolved. We are the Hidden Truth. When discussing time slips, most people immediately associate them with supernatural or mystical stories. However, what is surprising is that modern science does not completely dismiss the possibility of such phenomena. In fact, principles from quantum physics, relativity theory, and multidimensional universe models suggest that time is not a fixed, one-way stream, but can be bent, and in some cases even have shortcuts through space-time. Let's explore the scientific theories that could help us decode time slips. According to physicist Hugh Everett III, the universe we live in is not the only one. Every event in this universe could create a parallel version of reality where all possibilities occur. For example, in another universe, perhaps you never watched this video and are doing something completely different. But if there are millions of parallel timelines, could there be moments where two realities temporarily overlap? Some researchers suggest that if the multiverse exists, then time slips may occur when someone accidentally steps into a different reality for a brief moment before returning to their original one. This could explain why many witnesses claim that they only briefly saw a different era before suddenly returning to the present without any explanation. The idea of multiple universes is not just a fantasy, but is supported by various branches of physics. Quantum mechanics, many worlds interpretation, MWI, proposed by physicist Hugh Everett III in 1957. This interpretation suggests that every time a quantum event occurs with multiple possible outcomes, the universe splits into separate branches where each possibility plays out. For example, in one universe, you decide to stay home, but in another, you go out and meet a life-changing person. Cosmic inflation and bubble universes. The work of Alan Guth and Andre Linde in inflationary cosmology suggests that new universes could be continuously forming like bubbles in a larger multiverse. Each of these bubble universes could have different physical laws, timelines, or historical developments. String theory and extra dimensions. According to string theory, our universe may be just one of many that exist in a higher dimensional space known as the bulk. These universes may be separated by thin, invisible barriers, and in rare cases, they could momentarily overlap or interact. String theory and extra dimensions. According to string theory, our universe may be just one of many that exist in a higher dimensional space known as the bulk. These universes may be separated by thin, invisible barriers, and in rare cases, they could momentarily overlap or interact. If time slips are connected to the multiverse, it raises many questions. Are certain places on Earth more likely to experience these overlaps? Can science find a way to control or intentionally step into another timeline? Have people already shifted to an alternate reality without realizing it? The multiverse theory may provide one of the best scientific explanations for time slips, suggesting that what we perceive as temporal distortions might actually be interactions between alternate versions of reality. While more research is needed, the idea that we might be living in just one of many parallel universes makes the mystery of time even more fascinating. Do you believe in the possibility of parallel universes? Have you ever experienced a moment where reality didn't feel quite right? Let us know in the comments. The concept of wormholes, also known as Einstein-Rosen bridges, was first proposed by Albert Einstein and Nathan Rosen in 1935. Their theory suggests that space-time is not rigid, but can be curved and manipulated, potentially forming shortcuts through space and time. These theoretical tunnels could connect distant locations in the universe or even link different points in time. To visualize a wormhole, imagine space-time as a two-dimensional sheet of paper. If you draw two dots on the paper and fold it so that they align, punching a hole through both layers creates a direct pathway between them. This represents how a wormhole could provide a shortcut between two far-apart locations, bypassing the conventional constraints of space and time. Theoretically, wormholes could allow for instantaneous travel between 2 points in the universe, or even serve as a bridge between different time periods. However, there are significant challenges regarding their existence and practical application. Stability issues. According to general relativity, wormholes are inherently unstable and would collapse almost instantly unless supported by exotic matter, a hypothetical substance with negative energy density. Size constraints. Most proposed wormholes would exist at a microscopic scale, requiring unknown physics to expand them to a size suitable for human travel. Time travel possibilities. If one mouth of a wormhole moves at relativistic speeds or is positioned near a strong gravitational field, it could cause time dilation, making time travel theoretically possible. One of the most revolutionary insights in modern physics comes from Albert Einstein's theory of relativity, which demonstrates that time is not absolute. It can be stretched, compressed, or altered depending on gravitational fields and velocity. This phenomenon, known as time dilation, suggests that time can pass at different rates for different observers based on their motion and environment. If extreme time dilation effects exist, they could theoretically explain time slips, moments, when individuals experience shifts in time that defy conventional understanding. Einstein's general and special relativity theories describe two primary ways time can be affected: gravitational time dilation. Time slows down in strong gravity. Einstein's general relativity states that time runs slower in stronger gravitational fields. This means that if you were to get close to an incredibly massive object, like a black hole, neutron star, or a highly dense planet, time would slow down dramatically relative to a person on Earth. If an astronaut were to orbit close to a black hole for just a few hours, they might return to find that hundreds of years had passed for people on Earth. This concept was famously illustrated in the movie Interstellar, where time on a planet near a black hole passed 60,000 times slower than on Earth. If time slows down significantly in certain high-gravity regions, could there be natural locations on Earth where time flows differently due to unknown gravitational anomalies? Special relativity states that as an object moves closer to the speed of light, time slows down relative to a stationary observer. This means that for a person traveling at near light speed, time would pass much slower than for someone on Earth. Example: if a person could travel at 99.9% the speed of light for just a few years, thousands of years could pass on Earth. This suggests that an individual moving through such a high-speed system, e.g., in a cosmic event, advanced spacecraft, or natural energetic phenomenon, might experience an accidental time slip where they return to a completely different era. Could natural cosmic phenomena, such as extreme solar storms, magnetic field fluctuations, or unknown high-speed energy interactions, create momentary distortions where individuals experience short-lived time dilation effects? Time dilation is not just science fiction. It has been measured, tested, and proven in multiple experiments. While we understand its effects on large cosmic scales, its implications for human experiences of time perception remain an open question. Could certain places, events, or conditions cause localized time distortions, leading to the mystery of time slips? Do you believe time dilation could explain some real-life anomalies? Have you ever experienced a strange time distortion yourself? Let us know in the comments. One of the most provocative and debated theories in modern science and philosophy is the simulation hypothesis. The idea that our reality might not be fundamentally real, but rather a sophisticated computer simulation created by a more advanced civilization. If true, this could explain certain unexplained anomalies, including time slips, glitches in reality, and phenomena like déjà vu. This theory gained significant attention in 2003 when philosopher Nick Bostrom published his famous paper, Are You Living in a Computer Simulation?, in which he argued that at least one of three possibilities must be true. All civilizations eventually go extinct before reaching a level capable of running high-fidelity simulations of consciousness. Advanced civilizations exist, but choose not to run ancestor simulations. We are almost certainly living inside a computer simulation. If the third option is correct, then our perception of reality is merely a sophisticated program with rules of physics acting as programmed laws, and consciousness being a byproduct of computational processing. But how does this relate to time slips and anomalies in reality? One of the strongest scientific arguments supporting the simulation hypothesis comes from quantum physics. In classical physics, objects exist independently of observation, but in quantum mechanics, particles do not have definite states until they are observed. This is best demonstrated by the double-slit experiment, which shows that a particle behaves as a wave until it is measured, at which point it chooses a definite position. If reality only renders when observed, could this indicate that it functions like a computer simulation? In a video game, objects are not rendered in full detail unless a player is looking at them, a method called optimization in graphics programming. If our reality behaves in a similar way, then the physical world might only load when needed, conserving computational resources. If reality functions in quantum rendering mode, there might be moments when a person experiences an older or alternative version of reality due to processing errors in the simulation. If reality is a simulation, could some people have accidentally accessed older versions or alternative states of the simulation? Do unexplained phenomena like time slips occur when the simulation experiences processing errors? Who or what would be running this simulation, and for what purpose? While no direct evidence proves that reality is a simulation, multiple scientific, philosophical, and anecdotal observations suggest that our universe may be fundamentally computational in nature. If true, this could mean that our understanding of time, space, and consciousness is incomplete, and that phenomena like time slips might actually be glitches or resets within a vast computational system. Do you think time slips could be linked to glitches in a simulated reality? Have you ever experienced an unexplained reality shift? Let us know in the comments. We have heard countless stories of time anomalies, but is there any real evidence to support the existence of these phenomena? Below are some cases documented by researchers, eyewitnesses, and even historical records, cases that might make you question, is time truly stable, or could it be manipulated? In 2004, a historical photograph from the 1940s unexpectedly gained attention during an exhibition in Canada. The image, showing a large crowd dressed in period-appropriate clothing, contained one individual who appeared completely out of place. What makes this strange? He was wearing a modern-style hoodie and sunglasses, items that were not common in the 1940s. His clothing resembled contemporary casual wear, contrasting sharply with the formal suits and dresses worn by others. He held what looked like a digital camera, a device that did not exist at the time. The photo has no signs of editing or manipulation and remains preserved in historical archives. Could this be proof that someone accidentally traveled back in time? In 2003, U.S. news sources reported on Andrew Carlson, a man arrested by the FBI for securities fraud after making $350 million USD in just 2 weeks by trading stocks. What made this shocking? During questioning, Carlson claimed to be from the year 2256 and said he knew future stock trends. He had no verifiable history, no known identity, and no record of existence before his sudden rise in the stock market. After posting bail, he mysteriously vanished, leaving no trace behind. The FBI was left baffled, unable to find any records of his past. If this was a scam, where did he go? If he was telling the truth, was he truly a visitor from the future? There are too many strange cases that science has yet to fully explain. The photographs, maps, historical records, and eyewitness accounts suggest that something unusual is happening with time. So, what do you think? Are these cases simply coincidences, or could they be real evidence of time travel and time slips? Have you ever experienced a moment that felt like you stepped out of time? Comment below and share your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to explore more unsolved mysteries. After all the strange stories, compelling evidence, and scientific theories that attempt to explain time slips, we are left with an intriguing question. Do we truly understand the nature of time? We have always been taught that time moves in one direction, from the past to the present and onward to the future. But what if time is not linear? What if time behaves more like a malleable fabric, one that can be folded, twisted, or even torn in places? If there are fractures in reality, has anyone ever stumbled into them? Could a man from 1950 suddenly appear in New York in 2006, only to vanish moments later? Could a woman have seen her future self, only to forget it until the moment actually happened? And perhaps, have you ever experienced a moment where time felt out of sync, like reality had momentarily shifted around you? Are these occurrences merely illusions of the mind, or is our reality riddled with hidden rifts where different timelines occasionally collide? If reality is truly unstable, if time is not a rigid, unbreakable force, then this suggests that there is still so much about our existence that we do not fully comprehend. Perhaps the stories we've explored tonight are not just eerie anecdotes, but rather subtle warnings that our understanding of reality is incomplete. So, what do you think? Are time slips simply legends, or are they the key to uncovering the true nature of time and space? Have you ever experienced a moment where you felt displaced from the present? Leave a comment below and share your story. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to continue exploring the mysteries of time and reality.